afternoon again, everyone. In case you're just joining us, I'm Brenda Blackman here with Harry Martin in the My9 studios with the continuing coverage of Hurricane Sandy. We're going to have on the line right now with us Dr. Philip Orton, an oceanographer with the Stevens Institute of Technology. Good afternoon, sir, and please fill us in on what exactly you study and see when it comes to a hurricane like Sandy.
I study storm surges and sea level rise and the physics of the area's waterways, and so I'm really disturbed with what we're seeing with what seems like a real worst case scenario for New York City flooding.
Have you seen anything like this ever before?
No, I mean, and this is looking, you know, this morning the high tide was, the water elevations were quite a bit lower than we expect them to be this afternoon, but they still came up to Irene's levels, just over seawalls around the area, and we expect we might get about 2 to 7 foot higher elevations with this evening's storm surge when it peaks.
So throughout the 36 hours of this entire event that we're talking about here, we've heard that we're going to experience 3 high tides. We're already past the first high tide, but explain, if you could, that the problem is that the water doesn't have a chance to recede because of this huge amount of wind that we're going to be experiencing.
Yeah, the water is going to go down a little bit. It's already dropped back down below the height of the seawalls around, say, Manhattan or Hoboken, but it's staying pretty high up and pretty close to the top of the seawalls, and that's just because the wind is pumping water into the system, and the air pressure is going to be dropping, and that also adds, with a really low air pressure, that also causes the water elevations under this storm to bulge as we get into the evening.
Yeah. And as you know, here in New Jersey, we have different kinds of flooding. We have one kind, say, in Wayne, New Jersey area, and another kind, say, in Secaucus and Rutherford area. How do you think it's going to be different for those two different kinds of different areas in the state?
Yeah, it really comes down to when the tides hit, and if, you know, right now the timing of the storm appears to be causing the biggest storm surge that rides up on top of the tides to come in. You know, it's gradually been rising. It's about 4 feet now, and it could get to 8 or even 11 feet, the storm surge, and that rides on top of that high tide, which is coming at, you know, from 8 o'clock on the Jersey Shore this evening to 9 o'clock in New York Harbor. Places further inland, up the Hudson, Long Island Sound, come even later, their high tide. And unfortunately, some of those locations, or Long Island Sound, the storm surge won't peak at the same time, we hope, as the tide, so it may not be as bad in Long Island Sound as it is in New York Harbor.
So this storm surge is really the problem that people are going to be experiencing along the barrier islands, and that, of course, is why the governor is saying, please, if there is a chance that the waters recede just a little bit, that's the time to get out now if you ignored the original warning. So what's your estimation? And approximately what time do you think that may happen, like along the barrier islands, for example?
Well, I haven't been looking as much at how much they're going to recede. What I'm really looking at, so I can't comment on that without doing a little extra research, but what I can say is, you know, I'm looking right now at a forecast model. I mean, they suggest that the water level has gone down. Well, in the observations show that the water level in New York Harbor has gone down by 3 feet since this morning. So they're definitely receding several feet, and they're going to come back up very rapidly this evening to, like I said, around the city areas inside the harbor, maybe 3 to 7 feet higher than what happened this morning. And at the beaches, they may, of New Jersey, they may, like I say, 3 to 9 feet. Maybe Long Island a little less because the landfall's so far south, but definitely going to come up a lot more again later. And that right now, you know, low tide is about, for New York Harbor, is about 3 o'clock, and maybe for a lot of Long Island and Jersey Shore, it's similar. So it's a good time around now or the next few hours maybe to get out and get somewhere to high ground.
One of the things that we have heard so much about is that when the bay and the ocean actually meet. That's an occurrence that happens very, very rarely, but it's going to happen here with this particular event, with this hurricane, probably more than ever, correct?
The bay and the ocean meeting? What do you mean by that exactly?
Well, when you have the ocean coming in from the east and the bay is on the west part of a barrier island, the storm surge, is my understanding at least, the storm surge actually increases so much that the waters actually meet across that barrier island.
Oh, I see what you mean, yeah. So overwashing the barrier islands is definitely possible. As a matter of fact, I think there's a real good chance of that and that's, yeah, it's a horrible disaster when that starts to happen. It becomes very dangerous, yeah.
All right, Dr. Philip Orton, we thank you so much for joining us on our Newsline. Dr. Philip Orton with the Stevens Institute of Technology. Thanks very much.